Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh to all my friends in Malaysia, maybe even worldwide. Today I want to take you on a quest, um, take you on a tangent. I know the whole world is in crisis, and maybe that's why this is necessary. A lot of us are confined to our homes, and don't we are we are occupied the burden of this whole uh, crisis, but at the same time, there are probably times where we don't know what to do or what we can do at that moment. There's many things different people are doing. I'm going to take you on something very unusual, um, and that is to occupy our time in a manner which I believe might bring benefit to the to all of us, to the Panth. I would like to see that it brings benefit to the Panth because something there is a huge missing link in the Panth. There's a huge missing link in the Panth, and I'm going to share that with you. Just a few days ago, I think, as you know, with this Corona thing going on, um, just a few days ago, a staggering announcement was made. An earth-shaking announcement was made, and it was the declaration by the BBC that the greatest leader the world has ever seen was a Sikh Maharaja called Maharaja Ranjit Singh. This is an astronomical statement that came out of the West. And it is no small thing because the BBC conducted a survey over 5,000 reputed historians worldwide. 5,000 reputed historians worldwide were specially selected and chosen for this survey. And Maharaja Ranjit Singh beat Winston Churchill. He is home ground, BBC, home ground, British Broadcasting Corporation, Britain. He is the one who led Britain, saved Britain. But Maharaja Ranjit Singh beat him. He came in number 2 or something, I don't know. He beat Abraham Lincoln. The whole America talks about Abraham Lincoln. And these 5,000 historians from around the world chose Maharaja Ranjit Singh over and above all of these great men who are so often quoted. Unfortunately for us, as usual, ये साड़ी किस्मत है, पता नहीं साड़ी किस्मत क्यों इस तरह है, माफ़ करना for having used those words. Whenever something like this happens, the world is not watching. The world is not listening. The world is preoccupied with something else. Such a staggering statement. You know, we are a community of just 25-30 million people in this world. And 99% of the world hasn't even heard of Guru Nanak. But here is this one man, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, who lived by the principles of Guru Nanak. And that is the only reason why he achieved this status. And this is going to go down in history. History cannot be rewritten. We cannot go back into history and change anything. It's already done. And Maharaja Ranjit Singh has been declared to be the greatest king, the greatest leader, the greatest mentor, greatest example of a head of state ever to have existed. This is a very, very remarkable thing. I became very close to Maharaja's history. As a matter of fact, I became close to Maharaja Dilip Singh. At the same time, Maharaja Dilip Singh, the son of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, to his history after the Sikh band visited Perthshire in Scotland, where Maharaja Dilip Singh's young son is buried. When we visited there was when I started to discover the castles and the palaces where Maharaja Ranjit Singh, Dalip Singh lived in England, in Scotland. So anyway, let's come back to Maharaja Ranjit Singh for now. I would like to invite the whole Sikh Panth to now take some time to study this huge whole. He was such a great man, only being recognized 170 years after his demise. There is a reason for this. The British at that time did not want the Sikhs to be inspired by such a great leader. Now, let me tell you a few things about Maharaja Ranjit Singh while we go before. 60% of his subjects, the people in his country, were Muslims, not Sikhs. Not Sikhs. They were Muslims. And you know, Muslims, can you imagine a Sikh ruler? It might interest everyone to know that his first battle, his first victory was the capture of Lahore. Majority population was Muslims. They helped the Maharaja, they helped Maharaja Ranjit Singh to defeat the rulers of Lahore and take over Lahore. They pleaded with Maharaja Ranjit Singh to come and take over Lahore because they wanted a Maharaja like him. These Muslims. So many remarkable things that happened during his time. He modernized military and modernized warfare. He brought generals. American Independence War was over. He brought all the unemployed generals from America to Punjab. The Napoleonic Wars were over. Napoleon's army was defeated. He brought Napoleon's soldiers. He brought soldiers from generals from Prussia. He brought generals from Italy, Spain, and he modernized the army. Why do you think Punjab was the one state that the British couldn't touch? The only way the British defeated the Sikhs was by cheating. This is all history. We don't hold anything against anyone anymore. I'm just trying to explain a point. I love Britain as much as anyone else. I love the English people as much as I was educated spent 6 years in England, enjoyed every minute of it. That's all in the past. But what we are talking about, at that time, the world was a different place. And Britain wanted Punjab. That was the prize they were after. They couldn't touch it because of Maharaja. He had brought specialists who taught the Punjab soldiers artillery, how to fire guns, how to manufacture cannons, how to march, what is drill, what are ranks, how military maneuvers are conducted, how rehearsals are done, how parades are conducted, how ceremonies are conducted. All of this from Europe. Uniforms, European uniforms were brought. The most modern army Asia had was in Punjab. There were more European languages being spoken in Punjab than in any other part of Asia. This is facts. Do you know that Punjab celebrated Hindu festivals, celebrated Muslim festivals, Christian festivals? Christmas was a big event in Punjab because of the number of Europeans who were living in Punjab. Entire families who followed the generals and other soldiers who came along. It was a public holiday in Punjab, Christmas. And this is the greatness of this Sikh. And you know, he only had one eye. And whenever they asked him, why did God has made you such a great emperor, you rule all the way from the south to the north, all the way to Tibet, east to China, west. You're an emperor, But God only gave you one eye. He said, yes, because He wanted me to see all religions and all mankind as one. That is the teaching of Guru Nanak, and it is that teaching that has today earned him this rank in this world among all leaders: Abraham Lincoln, Winston Churchill, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, your Maharaja. Now, this is the part that I'm coming to, which I hope I can inspire you. I cannot tell you everything. There's so much to tell. I'm already telling you too much because I didn't intend to make this a lengthy video. People don't like to listen to lengthy videos. But there's just so much to tell. And his greatness was kept from the Sikhs. For the last 170 years, we have been denied, because the people who came to power, the British who came to power, and the Indian government that came to power after the British do not want the Sikhs to be inspired. You know the events of Punjab, even up until today is the same story. They do not want you to know your history. They do not know that you are the offspring of emperors. You are the children of kings. They do not want us to know that. They do not want us to know the greatness of our empire. Today we are people without a nation. But we were not always like this. There was a time we not only had a nation, we had an empire. And this was because of the tenets of our gurus, which were implemented by Maharaja Ranjit Singh. But Maharaja Ranjit Singh was made to look like a demon. He was made to look like a bad man. He was as a bad Sikh. Every kind of propaganda was used to dirty his image in the eyes of the Sikhs, so that they would not respect him, they would not love him, they would not regard him. And this was one of the strategies used by the rulers of that time, and even now until today. Maharaja Ranjit Singh is not mentioned anywhere, I don't think, in any history book in India. So this is something we need to know. We need to go back and touch that part of our history and regain that part of our history, that we can be inspired who we were, where we come from, where our ancestors come from, where our strength comes from, where our inspiration comes from. It comes from the teachings of our gurus that was implemented by our kings. And Maharaja Ranjit Singh was that man. The British used all kind of propaganda to make him look dirty. They made his family look dirty. Everything was done. They snatched his son, kidnapped him, converted him, imprisoned his mother. She was imprisoned far, far away from Punjab, so that the Sikhs would never be able to find her. Because the minute they would have found her, there would have been rebellion against the British. So all these attempts were made. She finally managed to escape from the last British prison by exchanging clothes with the servant girl who was assigned to look after her, who would come in the morning and leave in the evening after attending to her in the jail. One day she made a plan with her. They exchanged clothes, and Maharani Jinda managed to escape from the jail where she was being transferred jail to jail, so the Sikhs would never know where she was. She was such an inspirational leader, Maharani Jinda. And she ran 800 miles all the way, escaped to Kashmir, and went to get the help of the Raja of Kashmir to get her son back. The son was at that time, Dalip Singh. This is the whole history to it. This is what I'm trying to lead you into. And then Dalip was converted. He was taken away to England. To isolate him even further, they took him all the way to Scotland to hide him somewhere where no Sikh can reach him. Because the minute he heard about his kingdom, he was 9 years old when he was taken away and converted and brought up as an Englishman with all English habits. And this is what the British used. Again, with no offense, please do not misunderstand me. I have to recite these things. I have nothing against anyone. The way of the world was like that. That's how things happened in those days. But this is what they did. This is what was done to him. They raised him as an Englishman. And then, of course, he gambled, and of course, he drank, and of course, he did all the things what Western people do. And then they use this as a propaganda and say he's a bad Sikh. But what they don't tell us is the day he discovered who he was, the day his mother, he managed to meet his mother in Calcutta. All attempts were made to deny this meeting because the British knew the minute these two meet, there's going to be trouble. And the mother told him who he was and what he has become and questioned him. And that was the day the Sikh inside him woke up. And then he went to the King of France to get help to get his kingdom back. That didn't work because the British sent all their spies after him. Then he went to the Tsar of Russia to get the Russians to invade from the north through Afghanistan to get the kingdom back and block the British because the British were also the enemies of the Russians. The Russians were also afraid of the British punching through into the north and taking Afghanistan. So these are all the historical things that you will come to discover as very, very fascinating. But more than that, it's very, very important we know our history, how our history has been twisted and turned and made to look ugly. All of these, our leaders, because we are very religious people and we tend to judge people from religious point of view. We forget Maharaja was not a Brahmgyani, he was not a Sant, he was a Maharaja. And he had to live like Maharajas did. He married. Yes, he had more than one wife. He had a few wives. So the people use that as an excuse to say he's a bad Sikh. And all the Sikhs said, yes, 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 he's a bad Sikh. But that's not the way it was. If you were a king in those days, you had a Maharaja in those days, the traditions were such. You had queens. You had Ranis. It was the way of the world was like that. Your ministers had, the high officials had a few marriages. That was the way people lived. And then sometimes these marriages were necessary because of political alliances. If you had an enemy and you married the man's daughter or that man married you, then you became friends and you had no more trouble and there was peace in the land. So there were many reasons why all these things would happen. But all of this history has been turned and twisted. Maharaja's son was Duleep Singh. He had children. He had 2 boys and 3 girls from his first marriage. Do you know that Maharaja Ranjit Singh's grandchildren were raised in Buckingham Palace? In Buckingham Palace by Queen Victoria. Maharaja Duleep Singh was her favorite child. She preferred Maharaja Duleep Singh over and above her own son Albert. So these are important things that our Maharaja Ranjit Singh's grandchildren played in Buckingham Palace. They were raised in Buckingham Palace. Maharaja Duleep Singh was given an estate, a palace called Alverton Hall with 21,000 acres of land attached to it for his residence. You can go and see it down. It's in Norfolk, in England. Please go and see all these places. And then the children. The children. Maharaja Duleep Singh was the finest gunman, the finest shot in the whole United Kingdom. No one could beat him at shooting. Can you believe that? He's a Punjabi. He's a Punjabi Maharaja living there, but he was so good. He was the best shot. And his daughter Sophia, Princess Sophia Duleep Singh, she loved dogs, so she started to breed dogs. She was a champion dog breeder in UK. And do you know that, I'm born in 1954. I had no idea that Princess Sophia, my dear Maharaja's granddaughter, survived and lived, and she only passed away 3 years after I was born in 1957. But none of us know this. All of this has been hidden away from us. So I would like to invite you, and that is the point of this message, to take this time while this corona is going around, and we have the time to go into the history of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, Dalip Singh, and his children. And there's tons of material now coming up. Societies are being set up by Sikhs in the UK and elsewhere to dig up all these things, all the things that have been hidden from us, all the lies that were told to deceive us, to distort our thinking about our kings. To first they ruined their families, then they used that to influence us to say that they were bad people. They don't tell us that they spent their entire lives trying to get the kingdom back. So I would like to invite you, please go to the internet, Maharaja Dalip Singh, Princess Sophia Dalip Singh, Princess Catherine, Prince Victor Dalip Singh, all of these. Do you know that Prince Victor, the son of Dalip Singh, Prince Victor and Prince Albert, both their memorials are in Eton College, where they are buried. Sorry, their memorials have been built. Eton is one of the world's most reputed institution for education, Eton. And their memorials are there. But we don't know that. We think that our Sikhi and our everything is just in Punjab. So it's very, very fascinating, very, very interesting. I hope I can raise this interest during this time. During this time, please go to the internet, and there are books available. You can buy them. Amazon.com has got so many books. I bought my book on Princess Sophia from there. And there are so many other books which I bought when I was in India. And as I said, there's tons of material on the internet, even if you don't have access to books. Please do discover, go back and rediscover what has been taken away from us. It wasn't the Kohinoor. The Kohinoor is nothing compared to what we have lost. The Kohinoor can be bought for money. But what they took away from us, what we really lost, was the memory of our empire, the greatness of the Guru's teachings reflected in that empire, which today has resulted in Maharaja Ranjit Singh being declared as to be the most fair, most just, and greatest leader on this earth. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.